represent everything that is Norman.
Even me. In my dreams, I will always be with you in the forest.
So straight out of the gate, I need to know, aside from this Robin Hood, what is your favorite adaptation of the Robin Hood legend?
I think we were saying earlier, we love the animation version, the original. But I mean, me and Jack didn't watch any of the previous adaptations before we got the part. It's only until now when we've finished shooting that I've started to watch some of the previous versions. But it was just exciting to read a modern version of this adaptation. Yeah, we just love the writing of it.
I think for me, Robin Hood lived in our childhood. So I don't know about you guys, but did you go and pretend to be Robin Hood, in the forest with your siblings? Exactly. So that's where it lives for me is kind of in your imagination and what it brings alive in you.
I love that. And I know the show is called Robin Hood, but I have to say, Lauren, Lydia, I am obsessed with Marian and Priscilla. They are such fun characters, and I love that they are very much foils of each other. And I'm curious for both of you what your first reactions were when you read the scripts and you saw how richly written and well-rounded these women are.
Yeah, I mean, when I first read the first episode, I was so moved. So yeah, I was really excited to be a part of it. And the fact that the female characters, Marian's not just Rob's love interest, she's got her own journey, which really excited me. And her character arc was what really appealed to me when I read more of the episodes. But a lot of the women in the show are all of the women, they're very powerful and inspirational. And they're definitely going to be, I think young women watching the show are going to feel very empowered watching women of that time, just being so powerful and independent.
Yeah. I think when I read the line, I'm going to take your head and keep it in a box with the others. That's all you need to know. I'm I'm in. Yeah. So she's got such great, she's written so well, and she's got such, I think, complexities. She's got that fine line of going too far, but she's also been raised by her fathers, entrusted her with being in the courtrooms, understanding all of the politics. So that gives her this edge that she kind of grows into. And I love our relationship. It's so yin yang. And you kind of see, you have friends who are like that,
Yeah,
I have a friend like Priscilla and I have a friend like Marian. But yeah, and we were such good friends in real life, which is just such a dream.
I love that. I love this character so much. And Jack, for you, Robert really goes on quite the big kind of emotional journey, really between episodes 1 through 3. And I'm curious for you, when was that aha actor moment where you kind of fully saw that switch from the Robert to the Robin, and kind of where he kind of fell into place for you? And you're I know exactly who he is, navigating this kind of evolutionary journey for who he is as a character.
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's an origin story. So, we're seeing him way before, I guess, the hood comes on, if you will. I'm trying to, we shot out of order. So it was tricky to find it in a personal sense, but in a physical sense while shooting. But yeah, reading it was pretty clear. And that's just a credit to the writing. He's kind of forced into it by the end of episode 2. It kind of just happens. And there's a big theme of destiny in our series. And I feel like that's, that it was it's in that realm. It's destiny that this was supposed to happen. It's destiny he was supposed to see Marian again at this time in his life. It was destiny that he became, stumbled across Little John and Friar Tuck and the Outlaws, etc. So, yeah.
I like that. That's a good way to think about that. And it's interesting that you talked about filming out of order, because I do want to talk about some of the locations that you shot on. I noticed that there's a lot of bugs. And so I'm curious, for filming some of those out, you can see them on the camera. It's crazy. I was oh my gosh, so bad for them. But talk about some of the locations that you got to film on. It's so well designed. I'm just so impressed with all the set design for some of the interiors and even the exteriors. I just love to hear stories about filming on set.
Yeah. The locations are beautiful, the forests, the countryside. It really looks like England on screen. It's crazy. I don't think the audience are going to even guess that it'd be in Serbia. But it was beautiful, just kind of exploring the countryside there and the nature. And it just had a real, I don't know, just glow to it on screen. It felt really special to be outside in the forest. And yeah, also inside as well, the sets were just
it's amazing. I know, like a couple of times I had to go to a second level and I was like, am I just going to like climb a ladder? But I'm like up these stairs, these spiral staircase. I was like, it's all real. It's just a dream. It was like stepping into the 12th century. You don't have to use your imagination. You're there.
And Jack, for you?
Yeah, I mean, Rob's outside most of the time, so I was lucky enough to be on location at these incredible spots in sort of country Serbia. And you're right about the mosquitoes. They were no joke. They were, they were, Lydia mentioned it earlier, like the forest is a character in itself, definitely. And I think John and Jonathan knew that was important, that we make sure that, it's definitely a character in our story, and the audience needs to know about the elements.
I would love to get into some spoiler territory, but I'll start with you, Lydia, because there are some interesting kind of plot lines that play out later on with Priscilla and the way that she uses her charm to get her way. And she has a couple different entanglements as the story goes on. And I'm curious how many of those, is there any actual vested emotional attachment to any of these men, or is it really just using what she has to ensure that she has like a place in all of this?
It's a great question. I think that changes for her as I think at the beginning, she is kind of playing around, toying, having these relationships as entertainment. Like I remember thinking like, I'm a cat and these are all my like little mice. And then I think that she kicks into this other gear. She starts having these dreams and these premonitions, and suddenly like, that's just games, and the stakes get high for her. The relationship with the man, the strength of the relationship with her father. He's the man in her life, I think. And I love, you see them both in their vulnerable state. You see them butting heads. Like it's such a complex and dynamic relationship, as a father-daughter relationship is. So that's my personal favorite. And then I think as you see her moving into her vulnerability with Marshall, and I think that's kind of strange for her, because I think she does fall in love, and she's never really in love. She's always in power, let's say. So she starts to try and figure out what that means and what being vulnerable in that capacity is, which I think is really interesting for the audience to see that side of her.
That's a great way to put it. And I love all of the stuff that's happening with the court intrigue. And Marian gets some fun stuff with Prince John and kind of the way that she's working with the Queen. Lauren, can you tease a little bit of where things are going with those dynamics and what it's like for Marian to kind of get this life outside of her father, even outside of Robert, and having a lot of agency to kind of make a course for herself and essentially find her own destiny?
Yeah, I mean, I think as the series goes on, she starts to find her own power and her own voice. And especially in the relationship with Eleanor, she kind of sees her as a role model in a way. Like she's never had a female role model in her life before, apart from her mother, who she lost when she was really young. So to look up to a woman like Eleanor, who's like she's being guided by her, and it's just sees her as a real inspiration of a woman of independence and someone who's like in power of all the men around her in the palace is really quite interesting for Marian to watch. So yeah, she definitely has a really interesting relationship with Eleanor.
I love that relationship. It's so great to see female characters get these moments that are separate from the male characters. It's great. Yeah. Jack, I would love to know the dynamics as the series goes on. Is Robert really trying to find his own within this group of married men that he's making? And I'm curious if you can tease kind of how he is evolving as a leader, because there's an element where some of this is vengeance for him because of what's happened with his father, but then he's starting to see through other people's perspective that this is a movement that's a bit bigger than just him.
Yeah, I think he goes from when he becomes like an adult, he's still very much a boy, and it's not through, I think, his, the more he is around Marian, the more he's around his fellow outlaws, that he like learns a lot and actually becomes like a man. And, people broaden his perspectives on things. And that he does a lot of learning from the people around him, and so many light bulb moments for Rob.
Love that. And now I'm really hoping that the show gets many more seasons because I loved it so much. What are things that you would like to see more of for your character and an inevitable season 2 or down the line, kind of ideas that as you were on set, you're like, oh, I want to, get to wield this sword, or I want to do something with my character?
I'd love Marian to get into more of the action-packed scenes that Rob gets to do in season 1. Yeah. I think I really enjoyed learning how to ride a horse. So I'd maybe love to learn how to, do archery. I nearly forgot what it was called then, but, do the arrow stuff. That would be really fun, yeah.
Erica and I teased each other. I was like, okay, in season 2, I'll give you a bath and you can teach me how to use a bow and arrow. Let's power the woman. And she's down for that. She's like, I need to brush my teeth. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just excited to see where the females go. Sorry, Jack. Keep stealing gold.
I want Marian to hang around the Outlaws.
Oh
yeah, that would be great.
Maybe it's that. Thank you both 3 all so much. It's so weird to say both. It's like trio. Thank you 3 for this. This is great.
Thank you.
I love the series. I'm a historian and anthropologist by education, so this is right up my alley.
You had great questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.